Hello, it's Master Lean, and what's this? We're doing another unintentionally terrifying video? After making my first one, I spoke to Geny Fear about potentially making more unintentionally terrifying videos, even making my own series, and she said, hell yeah, baby! So, the rundown is, I'll be covering something that the creator made that wasn't intended to be scary, but ends up being terrifying. This means that something in a non-horror medium that includes a moment to scare you doesn't count. Got it? Okay. Before we start the video though, please check out Geny Fear's channel. Her unintentionally terrifying series inspired me to make the first video. She's lovely, she puts so much passion into her videos and her live streams are lots of fun. Her links are in the description. Support her! I said this before, but it's so nice to find a YouTuber who's so genuine and so passionate about her craft. She totally deserves more love and support. In my opinion, she's one of the best horror content creators out there. So what are you waiting for? And the amazing Kuma who made the avatar for the thumbnail of this video. I could have used the previous one, but I wanted the excuse to commission them again. And I gotta say, S-tier art! Oh my god, holy hell, this is slick! I've worked with Kuma a lot in the past, and they are so wonderful. Their links will also be in the description too. FYI, they do make the naughty stuff that's not safe for work, so you have been warned. Support them too! With that said, let me introduce you to Bill and Ben, the Flower Pot Men. So, Bill and Ben was a children's program that aired on CBBC between 2001 and 2002. There are quite a few episodes, so instead of covering all of them, I wanted to highlight a few aspects in them that really made the children's show terrifying. The way everyone moves is uncanny. What are Bill and Ben supposed to be? How are men turned into a flower pot? A flower pot man? What is that? How was that even possible? The sounds they make? So yeah, this children's show is unintentionally terrifying. That's it, the end. Check out Geny Fear, Kuma, bye! Okay, I'm fucking with you. That was a fake out. Bill and Ben is a remake of The Flower Pot Men. To be honest, the remake is not scary, just kind of unsettling in certain ways. The dead, unmoving eyes of Bill and Ben is disturbing. When you don't animate eyes, they look like corpses, especially when they're showing off different emotions. The eyes play a really important part of expressing yourself. Watching this again, it's pretty messed up. Then we have the rose bushes design. It's so weird how it moves, but to be honest, watching the show again, I really liked her design. But what makes it sort of disturbing is how it reminds me of the flower from Pink Floyd's The Wall. You don't know Pink Floyd's The Wall? Well, that's another video for another time, but to be very quick about it, it's a very angry, loud, upsetting movie, and it deals with disturbing topics, and it's very direct about it too. But, in my opinion, it's a powerful movie. It's a masterpiece. And that's really it about the remake. There's not much to talk about, really. With that said though, here is the real unintentionally terrifying show, the original 1950s Flower Pot Men.
Bill and Ben, Bill and Ben, Bill and Ben, Flower Pot Men, Flower Pot Men, Flower Pot Men, Bill and Ben, Bill and Ben.
First, history time. The Flower Pot Men, not to be confused with the band, is a UK's children's show that aired in 1952 to 1953. It was a puppet show created by Frinda Lindstorm, who was inspired by literally a flower pot, which is kind of wild, but hey, inspiration comes from anywhere. She got a team together and made the show. That's really it. Speaking of the 1967 band, apparently they got their name from the children's show, which caused a lot of outrage, because the songs they made related more to weed, cannabis and other drugs. Flower power, baby! Pass me the split! I can understand why the BBC and Frinda weren't too happy about that. So how on earth did little Marcy watch the original from the 1950s? Like, I'm a 90s kid. Well, there was a special VHS tape made that had some of the OG episodes in them, and my local library had a copy. And my mama borrowed one for me to watch. God bless her, the cover definitely makes it look better and lovely than the actual end result. I actually went to my local library and asked if they still had the VHS tapes. And they still do, apparently. Unfortunately, they won't let me see them because they put them in a storage and it's only accessible to staff. In my head, I like to believe that they kept it in the forbidden section of the library. Those that must not be touched by the public. And honestly, maybe it's for the best. With that little history lesson over, let's actually cover what made these things so terrifying! In my last video, I covered an episode. The thing is, I kinda can't do that in this one. The Flower Pot Man just has too many episodes to cover, but to be honest, there's really no plot in any of them. It's just, here's a thing, ooh, little dance, jingle, and that's it. It makes sense because it was targeted towards very young children. Like, they couldn't insert a Silent Hill 2 level plot into their children's show, because if a kid watched that, their mind will be destroyed. Instead, I'm going to focus on the aspects in one episode called Scarecrow, because number 1, that episode scared the shit out of me the most when I was a kid, and number 2, it genuinely covers how the show is unintentionally terrifying. Let's do this. So to give the show actual credit, the intro is actually pretty cute, but Christ, that house with those eyes, totally not creepy. So here's the actual setting of the show. It's so cheap looking. You have a few plants and some pots, with I believe a pre-made background, and this looks like something from a Resident Evil game! Like, the black and white colour only adds to the terrifyingness. In my opinion, it's one of those cases where having cheaper production adds to the horror. Less equals more. This is so unnerving to me. To be honest, if it was coloured, I don't think it would be as scary. If you were a kid again, and you saw this place, would you go to it? Personally speaking, I wouldn't. Hell no. Moving on, then we have the puppets. Look at the flowers, so the size! Also, what the fuck is the sound she's making? With some slight changes, you could use that as a monster sound. And here it is, the first Flower Pot Man puppet. Oh my god, what abomination is that? His voice! Spawn of Satan, be gone! Those dead eyes. They're so dead. No soul in them. Even as an adult, these puppets are freaky. Is this something a kid would like? What the fuck? Plus, the made up language with their voices is just so creepy as fuck. Sure, the remake did this too, but those are done in a more funny way. But these ones are just so... By the way, I'm not against making your own language for the show. Rayman 2, oh wow, that's twice now I brought up that game in this series, does this as well. To be honest, it's done so well it adds to the universe, the atmosphere of the video game. But this? You can tell they were winging it, and oh god, it sounds so off as hell. And now they are moving. They're moving! Oh my god, it's so creepy! Look at them! They're literally skeletons! These two should be in a horror movie! Again, you can tell the production on this show was way limited, and again, it adds to the terrifying factor. Those voices!
Top deep potty pipe deep. Top deep potty pipe deep. Body pipe beep. Beep.
And this is pretty much how most of the episodes are in the show. Just creepy movement and voices in a cheap looking background. Ooh, in black and white, baby. Wait though, there's one more thing to show you. The reason why I chose this episode in particular, the Scarecrow. Missing its bottom half of the body? Check. The longest creepy monster hair? Check. Its creepy smile and expression? Check. The way its arm moves? Oh my god. Check. This is so fucking scary. By the way, it's pretty clever how they used a balancing scale to move its arms, but it's still so creepy. Oh, that's so cute. You give that thing a hat and some gloves and it's meant to look cute? I'm sorry, it's still terrifying as hell. And for good measure, add the creepy Flower Pot Man into the mix, and it is some cult satanic shit. Oh my god. Oh!
Waddle tip cotta. Globa waddle da. Waddly 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 boo. Waddly waddly boo. Waddle tip cotta. Globa waddle ha.
And that covers the Flower Pot Man. And that pretty much covers the whole series. I'm serious, that's how the shows are. Just some movement, weird sounds, and just interacting with a thing. Like, what the fuck? How did this get approved? Why did they think this would be great for kids? This is so confusing. And the sad thing is, I love gardens, I love flowers, I like growing plants. Even as a kid, it's always been really fun. It's an active thing to do, but this show, due to its lack of budget, really doesn't capture that. It's so weird. It's kind of like if you were to smoke some flower power. This is what you would see in the garden. It's time to reflect on the flower pot, man. The show scared me a ton as a kid. And I remember when the scarecrow appeared, I cried so hard that my mama returned the VHS early. As an adult, this still creeps me out, and yes, you could argue that it's a product of its time. This is the 1950s after all. They clearly had a limited budget, sure. I get that, I really do. For what it's worth, the background is pretty neat. That does not change the fact that the puppets are still creepy as hell, to how they talk, their appearance, to their movement. Also, not having a real plot also adds to the terrifyingness. Like, think about it, if there's no plot, how can you describe it? It's bizarre. If you put this through the test of time, would you show this to little kids today? I wouldn't. Indeed, I am being very critical of the show. However, if I may say, I wish Brenda Lindstrom went into horror. I genuinely believe she could have made the puppet-themed horror movie or something. However, she cared about making shows for children. She was appointed as the director of the BBC's Children's Television in 1951 after all. I guess giving nightmares to children was her dream. But being for real, she had an interesting life. She lost her partner in the First World War, yet carried on working on her passion. So, I would love to know your thoughts on the flower pot men. No, not those ones. Do you find them creepy? As I do? Or maybe they're kind of endearing? Or maybe you actually enjoy the show, weirdo? I want to know! But wait! This video is not over yet. As I said, I was inspired by Geny Fear's Unintentionally Terrifying series to make my own one. I wouldn't have made my videos without her. Please go and support her! Her links are in the description. Do it! She's an amazing horror content creator and one of the few genuine ones left. She represents the you in YouTube. She streams and is such a wonderful person. Go and support her now! And the fabulous Kuma for making the amazing avatar that was used for the thumbnail of this video. I love working with them so much. They're super talented and they seriously make some of the cutest art ever. Here I am making them draw my avatar in a horrific way. For real though, they are incredible and deserve so much more love and support. They do draw the not safe for work stuff. You have been warned. Support Kuma now. Their links are also in the description. Geny Fear, Kuma, support them now. Do it now. Geny Fear, Kuma, support them now. Well, I mean, if you made it this far into the video, I guess check out my Patreon if you want to support me. I would love to do this full time, but I'm not your parent. And to be honest, I'd rather you go support Geny Fear and Kuma first than myself. So, you know, do that first, then check my stuff out. Yeah? Yeah.